My Brain is a Wonderland, a podcast for neurodivergent women and the people who love them. You're here with your host, Emily, talking about everything to do with being a woman late diagnosed with ADHD and autism. Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of the 2-part episode on friendships. So let's go back to my childhood again. On the previous episode, I talked about mostly my relationship with boys and men, teenage boy men, I don't know, in school. But let's talk about my relationship with girls. It wasn't good, guys. It was not good. Not to say that it was terrible, but I just didn't cultivate anything. It was this really strange feeling I had my entire school life. And it was this kind of Mean Girls vibe. Like the movie. Just that, you know how Lindsay Lohan's character starts hanging out with the plastics, but kind of hates them and is trying to tear them down? Like, everyone's trying to tear each other down, right? That's how it was. We hung out at school, our parents knew each other, I'd have sleepovers with, one of them, maybe two of them. But it was like, do we actually like each other? There was always an air of competitiveness, of I'm better than you. I guess just competitiveness, come to think of it. This kind of, my mom's better than you, I'm better than you, my house is better than you, I get better grades than you. Just that air constantly. And I don't know if that was just cultivated because I didn't connect well with other girls, or do all girls in school go through this? Ugh, I don't know. I hope not. Jeez. Then as I got older, trying to cultivate relationships with women seemed really difficult because I'd never done that before. My relationship with my mom is tenuous at best, and even growing up, it wasn't very affectionate. It wasn't based on emotion and love. It was more of a neurodivergent relationship based on shared interests, and that was what I was used to. So when I got older and was trying to connect with other women, I found that really difficult in lots of different ways. I absolutely suggest you go back to my episode called Don't Touch Me. It's about my touch aversion and talks about how women that I've tried to hang out with really want to touch me a lot, and I don't like that. That puts up barriers, right? If a woman is touching your shoulder and saying, "Hi, I love your shirt," and you flinch and pull away, that's not going to be a relationship now. If you work together and you do that, you're done. That's it. You can't cultivate that after that. At least that's how I feel. It's gonna take months. It's gonna take months again of them getting to know you and being like, and one day they'll say, "Oh my god, you're actually so funny." Or, "Oh my god, you're actually so cool." Or, you're so nice." I've heard that a million times. "Oh, actually, I didn't realize because I thought you were such a beep," right? Happens all the time. And that's the thing. When I start a new job, one of two things, or both things maybe, happen. One of the things is that I super intimidate people, especially women. I don't intimidate the guys, ever. I intimidate the women. And that's because I'm very confident when I start a new job. It's that ADHD thing where you're like, new job, who dis? I'm here, I'm living life, I made it happen. I'm starting a new thing, hated my old job, woohoo! They get insecure about that I'm just so sure of myself. I'm also very stoic. So that's the second thing, is that I come off sure of myself and confident, but here's why. I come off very formal and stoic also. And that goes towards that kind of feeling of being sure of myself. I don't fluster when people first meet me on a job. I sit up straight. I'm very much like, yes, no, think I'm reserved, which I am, and have often said that I'm stuck up. I've heard that a lot, that especially in America, because I'm British, And in England too, there's a class system. I've been told I'm stuck up. That's not it at all. I'm just very reserved because of my autism. People will often at new jobs not discuss their wild times around me. So if they went out on the weekend, got drunk, took drugs, whatever, they don't tell me any of that. I come off kind of square. And then months down the road, I'll be like, oh yeah, I got drunk over the weekend. And they'll go, oh wait, you are cool? Oh, let me revise that story I told you 6 months ago. I was actually drunk off my butt when I was doing that. Let me revise that story. And so I usually come off as just like Mary Poppins, I guess. This is not the first time I've been told that either, that I come off very prissy, very reserved, very stuck up. And I don't mean to come off that way. I'm just reserved when I first meet people. You have to get to know me. I do come off very nice and polite, though, because of that Mary Poppins reserved thing. And I've also learned a lot from when I was a ballroom dancing instructor. They actually used to train us on how to talk to people because we had to teach other people, touch them and communicate with them. That's ballroom dancing. You were in a frame talking the entire time. And we would have to, in the mornings when I first started this job, in the morning, we'd all be dancing with each other, the other teachers, and we'd have to get to know each other. Oh, I hate that phrase. Get to know each other. What does that mean? But here's what I figured out from this training, is that everyone loves to talk about themselves, so you need to ask them about themselves. What is your favorite thing? Where do you go to school? Who's your boyfriend, girlfriend? Do you have one? Where do you do this? Where did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Everyone likes to talk about themselves. So I learned that from there, that if you just, two things, if you say a lot, ask them a lot of questions about them, they'll love that. Second thing is to give them a compliment. So when you first meet somebody, if you're just trying to not come off like an autistic weirdo, when you meet people, just zone in on something, usually something they're wearing. I wouldn't comment on their body or face unless it's their makeup or hair. And I would say, I love that sweater. It is so cute on you. Or, I love those earrings. The color's amazing. Pull it out of your butt. Pull it out of your butt. You'll see something on them that you're like, oh, cute. Or, that's cool. Or, just say something complimentary to them. And that will help you in the beginning come off like you're not an ass face. And I actually love doing that. I love spotting. I'm into fashion and color. I love spotting the things that people, like they put on their best earrings and you can tell, and you just say, I love those earrings. And people light up. I actually love that reaction, making people feel good. And that will help in those situations. I mean, I had one time, some girl came to me in a new job, this woman, who I'd now become friends with, and she said, oh yeah, I wanted to hate you, parentheses, because I'm intimidating at first, but you're just so nice, parentheses, I give people lots of compliments and ask them about themselves. So that's what you want to do to kind of combat that. Ask them about themselves, compliment people. If you don't want to talk to people, ask them about themselves and create a conversation, just compliment them. Just say, I love that outfit, it looks so cool. And a lot of people, even if they haven't been trying to look good, will feel like, oh, thank you that you noticed that. It really goes far, let me tell you. But in terms of sustaining or maintaining or working on these relationships, what I find the easiest is when I'm in a work situation where I could bond or connect with the women that I'm with, and we are forced into these intense situations that bring you closer together. And that's true for everybody, neurodivergent, neurotypical. If you go traveling, anyone here been traveling, backpacking, you go to a hostel, you meet these people, you're like best friends in 2 days, it's life-changing. You go to college, you meet people, a week later, they're your best friends forever. It's just this intensified experience. So I found that a lot on events. If you're in event management, events are very intense, high pressurized, and when you're working closely with other people, you really see their true colors, they see yours, and you bond over vulnerable things. So it's really been the only way in my adulthood that I've been able to cultivate these relationships is high pressure, high intense situations where you spend a lot of time together, and it's usually event-based. With those kind of relationships, I can probably maintain them for about 6 to 8 months with women. If we're seeing each other every day at work, maybe longer than that. It's hard to say. But if you're seeing each other every day at work, going to lunch, it's easy. You're there every day. You hang out all the time. You go for drinks after work, maybe. What problem I have is if I leave that position. And I'm sure most people in life struggle with this. Because I don't know that all the people I've been friends with are neurodivergent when I've left jobs and they seem to struggle with this. But when you leave a job and you try to keep that relationship going, that can be really difficult. For me, I want to hang out maybe twice a month, text 2 to 3 times a month. That's my ideal. If we don't see each other at work every day, I can see people more than that, but I have to be really close to you and really connected with you. And what tends to happen when you leave a job is you kind of start messaging people and then they don't message you back. Then you wonder, is it me? Is it them? What is it? And this is something I've been trying to figure out lately because one of my friendships just dropped off, which actually, right after this episode, now that I say that, I think I'm going to text him because he has been one of my best friends ever and my best friend in the last couple of years. But stuff gets in the way. He has to drive 60 to 90 minutes to and from work because this is the life we're living in now. Trying to get jobs from here, there, it's just a nightmare. So asking him to hang out after work is kind of a nightmare. I've invited him to our home. He has come to our home. We've hung out. He stayed over. But is that weird? Sometimes I feel like I push it too far at a certain point or don't know when it's appropriate. Like I'll say to somebody, hey, if you want to hang out at our house and stay overnight, it's totally cool. And I can't tell if that's awkward or if they just don't want to, or what. I cannot... These social cues just drive me nuts, guys. They drive me nuts. But I think I am going to message him after this. Hey, note to everyone listening to this. You have a friend that dropped off. They just stopped responding to you. Send another message. Send another message that's heartfelt. That is saying, hey, I know it's been a while, but I'd love to hang out if you're free sometime. No pressure. You can literally say that in there. No pressure. No big deal. But keep checking in. Everyone has a lot going on. Everyone is struggling, including you. And don't assume it's you. The problem I have is when do you figure out it's you? If they're not responding the 4th, 5th time, do you keep going? Is it you? Is it them? Are you just waiting for the message that says, get the freak out of here, stop messaging me? I don't know. It's hard to say, honestly. Hard to say. But I am going to message that guy, so bank that. I'll let you know how that goes. And what I wanted to talk about next is my relationships in general at work with neurotypical women. Which is hard to say because you never know if someone is neurodivergent. I feel like I have a good radar on that now, but if you don't know anyone, if you don't know someone very well, they're an acquaintance, you say hi at work every once in a while, you don't know. But I want to talk about that because there's a lot of discussion online about what neurotypical women owe us. What they should be doing. What they should be saying, how they should be welcoming us and helping us. And I don't disagree with that. I think everyone should be trying to help everybody. However, they are struggling too. When I hear these things of, well, they're mean, they aren't accommodating to my needs, they aren't welcoming to me, but they are to other people, assume they are struggling, because everyone almost is struggling. Find me someone in your life that you actually know. It's not Instagram bullcrap. You actually know them. They are struggling in some area. And think about this, right? These women, just like you and I, just like everybody, have been raised in the same toxic patriarchal society that we've been raised in. They're just trying to make it work with the same social tools that we've been exposed to. So what have they been told? Kiss up to your employer. Say this and you'll make friends. Well, those say this things don't necessarily vibe with neurodivergent people. They don't know. That's not their responsibility. And I know that's hard to hear. It's hard for me to hear. For me, it has been hard for me to internalize, for me to accept that it's not on them. Just because you are coming into a new situation, it's not their responsibility to be your friend. It's not their responsibility to welcome you. And it's not their responsibility to make you feel comfortable. It is their responsibility to exist in this world in a kind, safe space that they are comfortable with, just like you. And think about it. When you're at work, and be honest with yourself, do you welcome every new person in a way that would be socially expected? Do you try to make them really comfortable? Do you try to make them your friend? Or are you just trying to get through the frickin' day and be also nice and amenable to people, right? That's something I've had to tell myself. They don't owe you anything. You just have to be nice and polite like they're trying to be. That's not to say that we accept mean people. People who are actively mean, freezing you out, being not nice to you. That's not okay. But try to take a step back. Next time you go to work or you start a new job, and maybe that woman doesn't say hello, or she says hello but not with the right smile, or doesn't invite you to lunch but goes to lunch with her friend. She's just trying to get by. She's just trying to make it work just like you. And here's what I will say for cultivating these relationships. Psychology and therapists will talk about this a lot. I'm not sure where I got this from. But there's this topic of turning in versus turning away. And here's what it is. And this might help you with your relationships everywhere, with your family, friends, spouse. When someone offers an olive branch to you, and that could be a smile, a good morning, an invite to lunch, try to turn in. If you are trying to make friends or cultivate this relationship with this person, try to turn in. And what that means, you can say physically, right? Body language, turn towards them. What that means is giving them signs that you are interested in a relationship or even just open to the contact they just attempted to make. This can be indicated with a smile back, right? If someone smiles at you, smile back at them. Saying thank you. If they compliment you, compliment them back. If they say, would you like to come to lunch? Oftentimes, I don't want to, but I'll say yes. Because if you say no, they will never ask you again. Once you're the no person, you're the no person. So that's sometimes what it takes. It takes going to lunch when you don't want to, when you've been caught off guard, but turning in. And I really recommend that. If you're in that moment thinking, I do want to be friends with this person, or I do want to open that lane, turn in. And for neurotypical women out there, I don't know how many of you are listening. This might be more for me than it is for you. But I just want to say, and maybe this will be good for the neurodivergent women to think of things to say or how to accept those other women in your life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel uncomfortable or like your offerings of affection and friendship weren't the right or correct way to offer. I need a certain approach to be comfortable. That's not their responsibility. They don't know I need that if I don't communicate it, and I'm not going to communicate that in a workplace. So I'm sorry if I ever rejected those offerings because I felt they weren't what I needed. I'm sorry I made demands of you that I never made of myself. And I'm sorry we never became friends because of all these things. If I wrote a list right now, there's probably 20 to 30 women. I'm almost 37. I'm 36 and a half. There's probably a list of 20 women I could name, first and last name, that I turned away from or made demands of and said, she's not doing that, but I don't do it either. She's not welcoming me to this job. She's not being nice. Do I do that to people? Think about that. Stop being hard on them. They are living the same life we are with similar difficulties. We just don't know what they are. Ours are being neurodivergent. And, whatever. My brother is this, my mother was that, I was raised this way, I had this trauma, blah, blah, blah. They have similar things. So you need to go into these spaces realizing that it's not their responsibility to care for you and welcome you into this world. And if they don't do that, that's okay. Do you. And you need to do you. So try to be kind to everybody. And I'm saying this because I'm talking to myself. Try to be kind to everybody because you never know what others are going through and you never know what they're perceiving of you or the area around them. And with that, I want to wrap up this 2-part episode on friendship. Thank you for listening. And if you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, please leave a review on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and I'll see you again next time on My Brain is a Wonderland. Bye-bye.